Hi everyone, welcome to my September bullet journal spread. This is my first ever bullet journal spread and I am incredibly excited to get started. So this month's theme is lavender and I was inspired by the lavender that I have in my home, in my garden. I absolutely love it, so I thought, why not use that for my September spread? Anyway, because it is my first ever bullet journal and I've just started, I wanted to go for something that's very simplistic and easy to draw or easy to follow. I'm starting by writing September in 2018 in this very simplistic and rounded sort of blocky font I found on Pinterest. I'll link the photo down below in the description. And then I'm creating a wreath with lavender as so. So I'm creating some very simplistic lines and then doubling them up, adding a little bit of detail and texture, and then creating the actual lavender flowers. To do that, I'm creating a sort of little bit of a tube and then adding some frills at the end here and there, and then adding some depth and making some lighter and darker using a slight dotting technique. I think that worked very well, but of course it is quite tedious, yet very, very relaxing, and I think it's very fun to just have a little bit of a timeout and focus on drawing, just relieving stress. It's very fun. I loved it so much. And for the next section of the wreath, if you have any tips for bullet journaling, please do leave them down below because this is a learning curve, and I think, of course, I'll get a little bit more complex with my designs in the future, but of course I wanted to start off with something very simplistic. Of course, since I'm a beginner, I don't have all the tools that I need, but I think this will show you that you can start with whatever you have. And I'm also just adding a little bit of color to the lavender using my Stabilo Purple highlighter. Now I'm moving on to my monthly layout where I can see my month as a whole. And I find this is a way that I can easily plan things because I've got everything laid out right in front of me. Just right there, bam. Every day has an equal size square so I can make minimal notes for plans or important dates, just so I've got everything right there that I can look into and address if I need to, for example, make plans. I'm using a 0.6mm pen to create the grid, and then for the title of September I'm using a 0.8mm pen, so the writing is a little bit thicker. However, for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday stuff I'm using a 0.2mm, so of course the line is a lot smaller for the smaller scale. Next, I'm writing key dates and events at the side. So for example, if there's a birthday, if there are certain plans, I can write them in a little bit more detail at the side there so I can look at that if I need to. And then of course, to fill in a little bit of blank space and keep to the lavender theme, I'm adding some sprigs of lavender in the corners there, and then also 3 in the bottom left corner. It's very fun, and again, I'm using that same technique where I'm adding a little bit of detail to the stem and then creating a little bit of a tube with a frill at the top, and to create depth a little bit. So I've got some lavender that's a little bit further in front than others. I'm adding more detail to the one that I want to be furthest in front in comparison to the one that's furthest back. I think that's quite interesting, and of course throughout the bullet journal kind of have a little bit more practice and stuff forms into something that works a little bit easier for you. And of course I'm adding a tiny bit of colour. In the top left corner, I'm writing the date as you do, and of course we're 30 days in September, and then I'm adding a couple of finishing touches to make sure everything is just right. And the next spread is my tracker page, and probably one of the spreads that I am most excited to make. So here I'm going to be tracking my sleep, my mood, and my exercise. So as you can see here, I'm just making all the grids and the boxes, and right now I'm making an overall box. So at the end of the month, I will basically summarize everything, how much sleep I've been getting, what my overall mood is, and I can see the whole month in review. Then I'm writing the title tracker in a big 0.8mm pen, and then things like sleep and overall in a 0.2mm pen, so it's a lot smaller. Then I'm writing all of the days of the month there. I'm going to be tracking my sleep and mood in a line graph, and then exercise I'll just be filling in a box once I do it. It makes it a lot easier and easier to just see the progress of how I've been feeling. Anyway, I think this is really great because it helps you understand your habits and what effect your habits have. Also, you can keep track and regulate everything that you're doing. Make sure that you're both happy and healthy. Then through those things, you can find points of improvement. For example, if I don't get a lot of sleep and then my mood is low, then I can improve that and find those correlations, which then again help you understand your habits and their effect. Right now I'm just adding a couple sprigs of lavender, 3 on this side and then another 3 at the top right corner. This just helps fill in blank space, makes it look a little bit more pretty and full. Again, it's quite simplistic but time consuming. I really like doing this, and I'm again using the little technique where I'm adding a little bit of depth to the ones that I want to bring forward and then not adding as much detail to the ones that are further back. Anyway, I think this is really, really fun, and it's going to be quite interesting to try and keep doing this every single day. It encourages you and myself to just take a time out and fill these things in every day so you can just focus on something that makes you happy instead of having your mind really flustered and full of other things. It's a really nice way to take a time out and relax. And I think because A-levels are going to be quite difficult, it's going to be such a great stress relief for me. But again, everyone is different, and right now I'm just adding a little bit of color with my Stabilo purple highlighter. Here is my task tracker, and this is taken from a homework planner that I made a year ago. So I've got a column for the due date, a larger column for what I need to do, and the final column is a progress bar. So I will either do it in 4 blocks, and then of course each one of the 4 blocks I'll fill in to represent progress. Or what I used to do a circle and fill it in a bit like a pie chart. Then the next tracker here is my YouTube planner. So I have monthly brainstorms, and this will help summarize everything. It also tracks my YouTube progress, so I have a little area for subscribers and views at the beginning of the month to the end of the month so I can see my progress. I did make a mistake, I should say 30th and not 31st. Then I have my video planner and what I need. The video planner is basically the upload date of every single video that I'm going to be putting out there. And then what I need are all of the supplies that I need. For example, if I'm doing a DIY or I'm running low on certain things, so I can write that down and make sure I can get them soon in time for when I need to film the video. Hand in hand with my what I need section in my YouTube planner, I have this expenses planner. So it just tracks what I'm spending money on, or how much money I'm spending, or how much money I'm earning, so I can regulate the amount I spend and see where the majority of my money is going. I can keep track. It's very simplistic, and it also has a total, so I can make sure I am within budget. And just to fill in some blank spaces, I'm adding a little bit of detail with some lavender sprigs and then filling it in with my highlighter again. Next, I have my movies and music spread. This is very fun because I love to listen to music all the time. So what I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be listing all of the music I've been listening to this month and movies I've watched. Also things I'd like to watch or listen to in the future. So it's a fun element to remind myself to take a break, and I'm thinking of adding a spread like this, but for books in the future I can write a mini review of what I've read that month. Now we have the divider for the next section of my bullet journal monthly spread. This is a little day-by-day section where I'm doing a mini calendar, just like the one at the beginning of my bullet journal, and I'm also creating a little bit of a wreath around it with the lavender sprigs, just like the first page of my bullet journal. This doesn't really have a proper purpose, but it's just a little divider so I can see the whole month right there as it is, because the next section is a little bit of a journal. Now you can see here in a little bit more detail how I made the lavender sprigs look a little bit nicer. I added the frilled edges at the top of each little section. Then of course I dotted the purple in the middle. This is like a little diary entry section where I have a double page spread, and that is the full week. But of course, since the month begins with Saturday and Sunday, I've just got to fit those two on that page. So of course there's a lot more room, and I'm filling in a lot more space with the lavender. As you can see, I'm drawing here. It's very fun to draw this lavender, and I'm really interested in what I'm going to choose to draw next month. I'll keep you updated on that. I'm going with the same theme, the day of the week over the date, and I'm going to write a little bit about my day, like a tiny diary entry, and each double page spread is a week as a whole, so I can just see a full overview of it. And it's very simplistic, but anyway, here is an overview of my whole bullet journal. Here is my month as a whole spread. Then we have my tracker. Following that, we have my task page and my YouTube planner. Next, we have the expenses tracker and movies and music page. And then we have the day-by-day divider page and my little diary section. Anyway, all of the items I used a dotted journal from Paper Chase, a Maped rubber, Unipin fine liners, I'll show you what I use them for in the description, Stabilo pastel height, a 30cm ruler, and a mechanical pencil. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this bullet journal video. Of course, this is my first one, so please give me any of your best advice and tips. I'll try and keep this up, and anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely day. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see more of my content. Hit the bell to receive notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye!